Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. It feels like déjà vu for Washington fans. Another season filled with promises that faded before they even had the chance to bloom. The Commanders, once a team full of youthful energy and untapped potential, have found themselves spiraling into the same vortex of frustration that has haunted them for years. And now, the latest gut punch comes in the form of an update that no fan wanted to hear. Terry McLaurin will not return in Week 11. The announcement, made official by insider Tom Pelissero, confirmed what many already feared. Terry McLaurin, quad, will travel to Madrid but will not play. Pelissero wrote, quoting head coach Dan Quinn, part of his recovery process. Those words sting, not just because McLaurin is the heartbeat of the Commanders' offense, but because they symbolize the season slipping further and further away. The Commanders are set to face the Dolphins this week in Spain, an international showcase that could have been an opportunity to reset their season narrative. Instead, it feels like another chapter in a long book of disappointment. Without McLaurin, Washington's offensive unit looks painfully limited, a shell of what it was supposed to be. Remember, this is the same Terry McLaurin who once carried the offense on his back, who gave fans something to believe in when the rest of the team was in disarray. He's not just a wide receiver. He's the face of the franchise, the guy who made acrobatic catches look routine and turned third and long into moments of magic. But now, he's watching from the sidelines, nursing an injury that just won't heal fast enough, while the Commanders limp their way toward irrelevance. And let's be real, it's not just about one player. The Commanders' season feels cursed from the start. Injuries have been relentless. Quarterback Jaden Daniels, who was supposed to be the spark plug for this new era of Washington football, has missed multiple games. His return remains uncertain, and each passing week brings more doubt about whether he'll even suit up again this season. The team's depth chart has become a revolving door, with players shuffling in and out, leaving head coach Dan Quinn trying to piece together something that resembles a cohesive unit. You can hear the frustration even in his calm, measured tone when he talks to the media. The mental toll is definitely a big one, Quinn admitted. Everybody goes through hard things. You find your way, and you adapt. But how do you adapt when your best weapons are on the sidelines, and your season goals are slipping away one Sunday at a time? Defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr. has tried to keep things optimistic, but even he couldn't hide the obvious strain. I never make excuses, Witt said, but the injuries are real. That's not just coach speak. It's a cry for understanding. Every week, the Commanders' injury report reads like a grocery list, and every week they try to convince themselves that next time will be different. But next time never comes. Washington sits at 3-7, and if we're being honest, that record feels generous. The scoreboard doesn't show the exhaustion, the emotional toll, or the sense of déjà vu that has settled over this team. The Commanders are running out of answers, and out of time. What makes this all the more painful is how it reflects on McLaurin himself. Once hailed as the team's cornerstone, his career with the Commanders has hit a strange, frustrating crossroads. After securing a massive $96 million contract extension, expectations were sky-high. But 4 games into this season, he's managed just 13 catches. That's roughly $2.5 million per reception, a stat that's almost absurd to say out loud. Not because McLaurin doesn't deserve the money. His track record speaks for itself, but because the situation highlights just how far things have fallen. His holdout last offseason disrupted the team's rhythm, and some believe that missing critical preseason reps may have played a part in his current injury woes. Football has a cruel way of punishing even the smallest missteps, and McLaurin is now paying the price in full. There's something almost tragic about the way McLaurin's story has unfolded this year. This was supposed to be his redemption arc, the season he re-established himself as one of the premier wide receivers in the league. Instead, it's been a battle just to stay on the field. For fans, it's heartbreaking. They've watched him evolve from a third-round pick with something to prove into a franchise icon. He's the kind of player who sets the tone in the locker room, who works quietly, who leads by example. And yet, all that effort feels wasted in a season that's already slipping away. You can't help but wonder if this might be the beginning of the end for McLaurin's time in Washington, not because of talent, but because sometimes relationships between players and teams just reach a breaking point. Meanwhile, the Commanders as an organization are at a crossroads of their own. The Quinn era started with optimism, a new voice, a new culture, a promise that accountability would replace chaos. But accountability only goes so far when the product on the field doesn't deliver. The Commanders' offense has looked stagnant, their defense inconsistent, and their overall identity feels undefined. They're not explosive enough to win shootouts, not disciplined enough to grind out tough games, and not healthy enough to even dream about playoff contention. Every loss chips away at their confidence, and each passing week makes that 3-7 record look more and more like a prelude to another rebuilding phase. Now, as they prepare to face the Dolphins in Madrid, you can almost feel the resignation setting in. This matchup could have been a statement game, a chance to show international fans that Washington football is alive and well. Instead, it's shaping up to be another reminder of what could have been. Miami, led by Tua Tagovailoa and a high-octane offense, enters as heavy favorites. And without McLaurin, it's hard to see how the Commanders can keep pace. Sure, football is unpredictable. Upsets happen. But Washington's issues run deeper than XS and OS. It's about morale, belief, and the sense that every time they take one step forward, they get shoved 2 steps back. And it's not going to get easier from here. The remaining schedule is brutal. The Broncos, Vikings, Cowboys, and not one, but 2 games against the Eagles. Realistically, the Commanders are closer to securing a top 3 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft than they are to sniffing the playoffs. It's a harsh reality, but it's the truth. Maybe that's not the worst thing, though. Maybe, just maybe, hitting rock bottom is what this franchise needs to finally rebuild the right way. To reset. To start fresh without the constant pressure of patching up old wounds with temporary fixes. But before they can rebuild, they have to survive the rest of this season, physically, mentally, and emotionally. For players like McLaurin, that means focusing on recovery, not rushing back just to be part of a sinking ship. His decision to travel to Madrid with the team is symbolic. It shows leadership, commitment, and a desire to stay connected even when he can't contribute on the field. It's the kind of quiet gesture that doesn't make headlines, but says everything about his character. Still, fans can't help but wish things were different. They miss the fireworks, the deep routes, the highlight reels that made McLaurin one of the most electrifying receivers in football. In a way, McLaurin's absence mirrors the Commanders' season, full of potential, derailed by circumstances, and defined by what's missing. The fans deserve better. The city deserves better. And maybe, deep down, even McLaurin knows he deserves better too. Whether his future remains in Washington or not, one thing is certain. He's still that same player with heart, grit, and unmatched work ethic. The Commanders might be losing now, but Terry McLaurin's story isn't finished. Not by a long shot. For now, though, Washington trudges forward, battered, broken, and searching for answers. The playoffs are gone, the injuries are piling up, and optimism feels like a luxury they can no longer afford. All that's left is pride, and sometimes, pride is enough to keep a team fighting. Week 11 in Madrid won't be about wins or losses, it'll be about resilience. It'll be about showing that even when everything falls apart, there's still a reason to line up, to compete, and to believe. Because if there's one thing Commanders fans have mastered over the years, it's believing against all odds. And for a team that's running out of reasons, maybe that's the only one that still matters. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Forget 2026. Forget waiting for the distant future. Forget those endless debates about what might happen in the next draft or who could be a free agent 2 years from now. Because according to sources inside the league, the Washington Commanders might be about to flip the script entirely, and it's all thanks to a very, very active Martin Harris. That's right, Harris, known for being a wizard when it comes to identifying talent and moving pieces around the NFL chessboard, reportedly has a list of stars who are currently free agents. Not in some fantasy timeline, not in some future rumor, but right now, today, that he's ready to hand over to Dan Quinn, the Commanders' head coach, and frankly, it could change everything for this franchise. We're not talking minor tweaks or the usual off-season filler signings. We're talking big, headline-grabbing names, guys who could come in and instantly alter the dynamic of the team. The kind of talent that could finally take Washington out of the shadows of the NFC East shuffle and put them on the map as a serious contender. It's wild to think about because the Commanders haven't exactly been known for their blockbuster moves lately. The narrative has been patience, incremental growth, and hoping young talent develops over time. But if these whispers are true, Harris isn't just thinking differently. He's playing a completely different game. The league insiders are buzzing about it. Imagine the kind of names that could be on a list like this. Players who have already proven they can perform at the highest level. Guys who have the star power to draw eyes to FedEx Field. And the kind of veterans who bring leadership, swagger, and a winning mentality into a locker room that desperately needs it. Sources suggest that Harris has been methodically watching, analyzing, and reaching out behind the scenes, preparing a document, a kind of dream roster of available talent that he can hand directly to Quinn and say, "Here, build this team." It's almost cinematic in a way, like a coach receiving a cheat code to the league, but insiders insist that Harris has the credibility and the track record to make this more than just wishful thinking. Now, let's talk about the context here. Dan Quinn has been under pressure since he arrived. The expectations in Washington are always high, and the margin for error is slim. Fans are restless. The media is relentless. And while Quinn has shown flashes of brilliance in terms of scheme and game management, there's no denying that the roster's overall talent level has been a limitation. But with Harris reportedly assembling this list of free agent stars, there's suddenly a possibility that Quinn could step into the offseason not just with a plan, but with a literal shopping list of top-tier players who are immediately available. Think about what that would mean. The Commanders could, in theory, add impact players at multiple positions, offensive line, skill positions, defensive playmakers, without waiting for draft picks to pan out or hoping that mid-tier signings develop into stars. This is about seizing the moment. And if Harris is truly as aggressive and forward-thinking as insiders claim, Washington could be on the brink of one of the boldest off-season maneuvers in recent memory. The ripple effect of something like this is massive, not just within the locker room, but across the league. Other teams are going to watch, analyze, and perhaps even panic if Washington starts signing top talent that everyone thought was already spoken for. The rumor mill suggests that some of the players on this list are household names, the kind of stars that can immediately shift narratives. Names that, if true, could make Washington a favorite in the NFC East overnight. And while no official announcements have been made, as expected with something this delicate, the chatter is loud, persistent, and coming from sources who have historically been accurate with leaks before they became headlines. The NFL world thrives on speculation, but this feels different. There's a sense that this is not just a what-if scenario, but a carefully orchestrated plan that could see Quinn and Harris rewriting the Commanders' destiny before the season even begins. Fans, naturally, are already speculating wildly. Social media is lighting up with guesses, conspiracy theories, and wish lists. Who could it be? Are we talking all-pro defenders who could instantly shore up a shaky backfield? Offensive weapons that could give Carson Wentz, or whoever is under center, a shot at staying in games that have been historically lost in the fourth quarter? There's even talk, whispered quietly but persistently, about possible veterans who have been left and signed elsewhere, stars who could be persuaded to come to Washington for the right project, the right promise, the right vision. It's the kind of narrative that fuels off-season drama, and insiders suggest that Harris is treating it like a chess game, carefully considering each move, each domino that could fall, each message sent and phone call made to potential signees. The implication is clear. Washington could suddenly become the most talked-about team in the league, not for their previous mediocrity, but for a bold, aggressive, and unapologetically ambitious approach to building a roster. It's also interesting to consider the psychology here. A move like this signals confidence. It signals vision. It signals a front office that is tired of excuses and half measures. Harris handing Quinn a list of ready-to-go stars would not just be a roster move. It would be a declaration of intent. It says, we want to win, and we want to do it now. And for Quinn, who has had to work within constraints and manage expectations, receiving something like this could be transformative. He's no stranger to high-pressure situations, but suddenly, instead of tinkering and hoping for incremental improvement, he could have the tools to construct a team that is competitive from day one. It's a scenario that sounds almost too good to be true, which is exactly why the rumor is gaining so much traction. People want it to happen. Fans are hungry for it. And the players themselves, many of whom are reportedly intrigued by the potential shakeup, could be energized by the idea of stepping into a locker room that's suddenly filled with fresh talent, experienced leaders, and a renewed sense of purpose. Of course, there are hurdles. Money, salary caps, egos, and logistics always play a role in these kinds of stories. But insiders suggest that Harris is already thinking ahead on all fronts. He's reportedly lining up contingency plans, alternative targets, and creative structuring options to make this as feasible as possible. The level of detail and preparation is apparently meticulous, the kind of operational precision that only someone deeply familiar with the league's inner workings could pull off. And while nothing is confirmed yet, the mere fact that these conversations are happening behind closed doors has the NFL community buzzing. Other executives are taking notice. Rival coaches are quietly adjusting their off-season strategies. And while the Commanders haven't officially commented on any of this, the sense from insiders is that the wheels are already in motion, and the potential fallout could be huge. So, as the days and weeks move forward, keep your eyes peeled. This isn't about 2026. This isn't about distant dreams. This is about today, about the here and now, about a front office that seems poised to make a bold, assertive move that could redefine the Washington Commanders' trajectory. If Harris's rumored list is anything close to what insiders are suggesting, Quinn could soon have a chance to craft a team that's not just competitive, but legitimately exciting. And for a fan base that has been starved of marquee moves, for a city that has endured years of frustration and near misses, the prospect of a blockbuster offseason is nothing short of electric. The rumor mill is swirling, the speculation is rising, and Washington might just be on the verge of one of the boldest roster shakeups the NFL has seen in years. One thing is clear. Nothing about the Commanders' future in 2025 is ordinary, and if Harris delivers on even a fraction of what's being whispered, Dan Quinn's team could be positioned to shock the league in ways nobody saw coming. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.